everyone, and welcome to Tokyo Talk. I'm Mai, and we have a very useful word today.
And I'm Jack. That's right, Mai. Today's word is mitigate. Sounds a bit formal, but it's super practical.
Exactly. To mitigate means to make something bad, like a risk or a problem, less severe, serious, or painful. It's the opposite of aggravating a situation.
So you're actively trying to lessen the negative impact. I like that. It's about taking control.
Precisely. Jack, you travel a lot around Japan. Have you ever had to mitigate an unexpected travel problem?
Oh, definitely. Once, a typhoon warning seriously threatened my plans to visit a remote island. I had to mitigate the risk of getting stranded.
That sounds stressful. What did you do to mitigate that situation?
I changed my itinerary to explore a mainland city instead and booked an earlier train back to Tokyo to mitigate any travel disruptions. It's like having a plan B for your travel algorithm.
When Jack mentions an itinerary, he's talking about a planned route or journey. That was quick thinking to mitigate the impact.
How about you, Mai? Any everyday situations where you find yourself trying to mitigate things? Maybe even on the dating scene?
Well, on a smaller scale, I try to mitigate the chance of catching a cold by washing my hands often. And yes, for dating, I might choose a cafe I know well to mitigate any potential awkwardness of a new place.
Smart move. Mitigating first date jitters. So, no adventurous unknown ramen shops for a first date then?
Perhaps not for the very first one. It's like with my jazz music. I practice scales and improvisation to mitigate mistakes during a performance. It makes the unexpected notes sound intentional.
That's a great analogy. Mitigating musical mishaps. So you mentioned your AI research earlier, Mai. Is mitigate a common term there?
Actually, Jack, you're the one with the AI background. How do you see mitigate used in your field?
Ah, right you are. Yes, in AI, we talk a lot about mitigating bias in algorithms or mitigating the risk of errors in models. We try to foresee and lessen potential negative outcomes.
When Jack refers to mitigating bias in algorithms, it means trying to prevent unfair preferences in AI decision-making. It's about making AI systems more equitable.
Exactly. Now, mitigate has some close cousins, doesn't it? Words like reduce, alleviate, lessen. Learners might get these mixed up.
That's a good point. Let's clarify. How would reduce differ from mitigate, Jack?
Reduce is more general, meaning to make something smaller or less in amount or size. For instance, you'd try to mitigate the effects of a storm, but you'd reduce your expenses.
Good distinction. So mitigate focuses on lessening the severity of something negative. We take steps to mitigate damage, but we reduce the volume on the TV.
What about alleviate? That sounds like it's often used for feelings or physical sensations, like alleviating someone's travel sickness with some ginger tea.
Precisely. Alleviate often means to make suffering, deficiency, or a problem less severe, often temporarily easing pain or distress. You'd alleviate pain, but mitigate a financial loss.
Got it. And lessen? Is it similar to reduce, or does it have its own flavor?
Lessen also means to make or become less, but it can apply to quantity, intensity, or importance. Mitigate often implies a more active effort to counteract something specific and harmful.
So the rain might lessen, but a government takes action to mitigate flood damage. This is really helpful for seeing the subtle differences.
Okay, let's do a quick review of some key phrases with mitigate. Jack, can you give us one?
How about, we must take steps to mitigate the risk of cyber attacks.
That means we need to implement measures to make the danger of cyber attacks less severe. Another one, Jack?
Sure, the new flood barriers will help mitigate the damage from future storms.
Meaning the barriers are intended to lessen the harmful effects of storms. Now, let's try a contrast. Jack, give me a sentence using mitigate in a crisis.
Okay, the emergency services work to mitigate the impact of the earthquake. Now, how would reduce fit differently?
Good one. You could say they're trying to reduce the number of casualties. Reduce focuses on decreasing a quantity, while mitigate impact is about lessening the overall negative effect.
That clarifies it well. Using these words correctly really refines your English. It's like choosing the right seasoning to complement a dish perfectly, rather than just making it salty.
I love that metaphor, Jack. And that's all the time we have for today. Practice using mitigate this week.